Gokul, Padmaja, Paresh, Rajiv, Taneja, Senthil, Srinivas. And thanks for waiting. I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Let's start. Okay. So, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So, if you are from UK, right, thank you. So, SAP HANA. Now, first of all, I hope everyone would have been read good, many things about HANA. But quickly, I'll give a short introduction about what is HANA, what is special with HANA, okay, and then what we're covering in this course, okay. So HANA stands for High Performance Analytical Appliance, okay. That's fine, but what exactly it is, right? HANA stands for High Performance Analytical Appliance. We are reading many times. To put it very simple, SAP HANA is a database. Okay. So now if it is just a simple database, now definitely all of us would not have been so much interested about HANA. So we are hearing a lot about HANA, right? So it is a special database. Now what are the specialities of SAP HANA, or what makes HANA special? Okay, so basically HANA is an in-memory database. So there are many traditional databases. They are successful in the market, right? Oracle, DB2, Teradata. They are already doing good. But if you compare with those traditional databases, HANA stores data completely in the main memory or RAM. Okay. Now, that's why we call it as an in-memory database. Now, what is so big deal if we are storing the data in the main memory? Obviously, RAM is many times faster than the disk, right? So, what happens in traditional database? In traditional database, data is stored in the disk. Now, whenever data is required, it is pulled from the disk. So, now because of the slowness of the disk, the input-output operations are taking time. So, basically, the CPU processing time is taking more, or the CPU has to wait for the input-output operations of the disk. But now, when it comes to HANA, now data is completely stored in the main memory of the server. So, the CPU has no longer need to wait for the slowness of the disk. So, your computing would be many times faster. So, this is the first aspect of HANA when it comes to performance, that in HANA data is completely stored in the main memory. It's not cache. Okay, it's no more caching concept. The complete database itself is in the main memory. So if you are storing 512 GB of data, now all that 512 GB of data is there in the main memory. Okay. So we'll get into the topics like how much memory size you require, how big the RAM should be in that case, what is power goes. So we'll talk about that in the later part of the course. Now, the next aspect of HANA is it's a columnar database. Okay. Now again, see, all traditional databases store the data in row format. Meaning, data is stored and retrieved in the form of row. Like if you take a table, so you have rows and columns, right? So row storage is not bad. Okay, see, row storage is good. So that's the reason Oracle, Teradata, this DB2, they are successful, right? Still we are using them. But row storage is good for OLTP operations. Okay, so basically row storage is good for OLTP operations. So when we talk about OLTP operations, it's a transaction processing system, right? So basically you have insert, update, delete. So in those kind of scenarios where most of the operations are insert, update, delete, row storage is good. But when you talk about some OLAP systems, basically some analytical systems, like SAP BW examples, or a library catalog, or a CRM. So basically, in these kind of systems, most of the operations are read operations. So if you take some reporting system, most of the times you are pulling the data out of it. So in those cases, a columnar database is highly efficient when compared to the row storage. Okay. So put it very simple, row storage is not bad, but it is basically it's good for OLTP operations. But when it comes to OLAP operations, most of the operations are read operations. A columnar storage is highly efficient. And the next aspect of HANA is its MPP architecture. MPP stands for Massive Parallel Processing. So again, what does it mean? See, HANA is not just hardware, or HANA is not just software. Okay. So if you see the HANA sizing guidelines, SAP HANA has to be installed on certified hardware with high configuration hardware. Meaning, so the hardware which you use for HANA will be having like terabytes of RAM, the latest Intel processors like Nehalem Westmere, multi-core engine. And also, it's not just the hardware which is making HANA special. The software is also designed to exploit that hardware. Meaning, see, earlier days hardware was not so cheap, but nowadays hardware became so cheap, and then because of the 64-bit address space, you have multi-core engines, 8x8 core within one box. Now, because of that high configuration hardware which is available now, the software is also designed to exploit that hardware. So massive parallel processing. So it's the right combination of hardware and software which makes HANA special. So consider, take an example where take two high configuration boxes, hardware. On one box you install Oracle, on another box you install HANA. Still, the traditional database is not going to give you the same performance of HANA, because those softwares are not built for this high configuration. Those are built for keeping the regular disk input-output operations in mind. Now, with HANA, the software itself is designed to exploit the hardware. Okay? So, these three aspects will give you performance of HANA, but now there is something else which is special with HANA, that is real-time analytics. Or real-time computing. With SAP HANA, there is a component called SLT, which stands for SAP Landscape Transformation. Now, with SLT, you can replicate the data in real time, meaning as soon as a transaction happens in the source system, data is immediately in real time replicated into HANA. So that is the capability of SLT. Now, because data is available in real time in HANA, you can do real-time analytics. You can analyze your business when it is happening. So real-time computing. Now also SAP has released something like Business Suite on HANA, which we'll talk about it. So where basically the complete OLTP system itself is running on a HANA database. So again, that is also will enable real-time computing, because you are directly reporting on the OLTP system. Okay. So we'll come back to that topic once again, but let me quickly give you, what we discussed. HANA, which stands for High Performance Analytical Appliance, which is nothing but a database. Okay. So there is something apart from database, but to the core, it is a database. Okay. So I can say it is database plus something that's more than a database, but to the core, HANA is a database. Okay. It's an in-memory database which will store data completely in the main memory. Now your CPU wait time is almost reduced or negligible because of data available in the RAM. Columnar database, your high performance queries or your queries will run lot many times faster because of the columnar storage. The software is installed on a high configuration hardware, and the software is designed to exploit that hardware MPP architecture. And now data is available in real time. Now you can do real time reporting in HANA. Okay. Now keep these 4 aspects in mind. Let's get into the more details about HANA. Okay. So currently we are on SAP HANA Service Pack 6. Okay. Still version 1.0, but we are on Service Pack 6. Certification is based on Service Pack 5. Okay. So we'll see both Service Pack 5 and Service Pack 6. Very minor differences. No need to worry much. So if you are appearing certification in next 1 month, that would be on Service Pack 5. But if it is later than 1 month, you would be going on Service Pack 6. Okay. So we are having the latest certification material on Service Pack 6. Sorry, Service Pack 5. Service Pack 6 is not released certification. Okay. Now going back to the topic. Now let's see the definition of HANA. Just we understood the special features of HANA. Now let's see the definition. See, SAP HANA is a technology or a database or an engine which can process huge quantities of real-time data or massive amounts of data. Why it can handle huge data? Because of the first 3 features, because its data is there in RAM, because it's a columnar database, it's an MPP architecture, it can handle huge amounts of data, and that too in real time, where data is getting processed in the main memory of the server. Okay, so that's the definition. Now let's see architecture of HANA. Basically, what we are doing with HANA. See, HANA is offered in various versions, meaning HANA is offered as a pure database that is called SAP HANA as a data mart. HANA can be used as a pure database for BW that is called BW on HANA. So here HANA acts more like a database for BW. Okay, and then you have accelerators, for example, SAP HANA COPA accelerator. HANA is a secondary database for OLTP. SAP Business Suite on HANA. So all SAP ERP applications like ECC running on HANA database. So HANA has various angles. Okay, so we'll understand all of them in detail, but for now I'll just explain the architecture of HANA as a data mart. So you'll understand how it is different from the other versions of it. So in the first architecture, in the basic architecture of HANA, we are using HANA completely for your reporting, for your analytics. Okay. So this architecture is also called as native HANA or HANA standalone, SAP HANA data mart, or native HANA or HANA standalone. Okay. So in this architecture, we are using HANA completely for your reporting. Okay. Now let's see the architecture, what tools we have and what we are going to discuss. See, this would be the high level architecture of HANA from the data mart angle. The bottom you see, these are the source systems for SAP HANA. Meaning, what is source system? From which source system is one from which we are bringing the data to HANA. Why you have to bring the data to HANA? You are doing reporting. So in order to do reporting on HANA, so first bring it from a OLTP system. So SAP HANA is a data source agnostic, meaning It can connect to any type of source system. It can connect to any type of OLTP system. Okay. Now, data would be loaded to HANA using various mechanisms. One of the mechanism is real-time replication services from Sybase, SLT, data services, and also there is one more mechanism that is called DXC. Okay. So what are we doing in this architecture? We are using HANA completely for the reporting. In order to do reporting on HANA, first bring the data, load the data to HANA, do data provisioning. So what are the data loading techniques or data loading methods available with HANA? The first method is SLT, second method is BODS, third method is DXC, or fourth one is Sybase replication. And finally, you can also do flat file loading. Okay. So these are the 5 methods using which you can bring data to HANA. So first one, SLT stands for SAP Landscape Transformation. This is a real-time replication mechanism, meaning as soon as data is available in source system, SLT can replicate the data into HANA in real time. This can connect to both SAP and non-SAP systems. Okay. Now the next one is BODS, which stands for Business Objects Data Services, which is an ETL tool. Now this is based on batch job. Okay, this is not real time. Okay, so this can also connect to both SAP and non-SAP. Now question. So now if SLT is real time, if it can connect to both SAP and non-SAP, why we have one more method? What is the difference between SLT data loading and data services? So data services is well suited for complex data transformation, whereas this is more of table to table replication. See, there would be some reporting where you don't need to transform the data much. You want to, with simple modifications to your OLTP data, you want to do reporting. Basically, if you are looking for only for real-time reporting, then you will use SLT. Now, for any other scenario where you have complex data transformations, where you are required to transform the data, modify the data, cleanse the data, harness the data, in those kind of scenarios, data services would be very useful. Okay, because of it's an ETL tool where it has many transformation logics. It can connect to both SAP and non-SAP. So this would be very much useful for complex data transformation scenarios. Now there is one more method that is called DXC, which stands for Direct Extractor Connection. So this is very much suited for SAP source systems. Okay, and this is very much needed in case you want to make use of SAP delivered business content data sources. Okay, so this is a high level terminology which you will understand if you are from a BW background. So I'll put it very simple. See, what SAP did is they have built some predefined methods to extract the data to BW. Okay, BW is another data warehousing tool from SAP. So almost like SAP has built almost like 6,200 data sources. So these standard data sources can now be used to load the data to HANA instead of BW. So that method of loading is called DXC, Direct Extractor Connection. Okay. So if you're not from BW background, just take it for granted for now. Once we get into the actual course, you will understand more details. Okay. And we are going to cover these 3 methods of replication with practical scenarios where most of the vendors are not covering, especially DXC is not covered with many guys. So we'll see practical scenarios with all these 3 methods of replication. Okay, DXC is added only from Service Pack 4. many guys are just showing theoretically, but now we'll see practically on the server how DXT will work, what are the advantages of DXT, what are the considerations you have to keep in mind, which data sources will not work, and which SAP notes you have to apply to get the best out of DXT. We'll talk about them. So basically, this is very much useful in case the source system is SAP and now you want to make use of SAP delivered data sources. And then there is last method to replicate the data, that is site-based replication. This is called as log-based replication because this will use database log to replicate the data. This is again real time, but problem is this has some limitations that the underlying database could be DB2. So basically this is not much promoted by SAP, okay? Not promoted. So you can simply ignore this method of replication, okay? So if you see the current architecture for HANA, you will see only these three methods: SLT, BODS, and DXT. And finally, flat file loading, nothing but CSV file import, CSV file or Excel file import. So these are the four methods using which you can replicate the data into HANA: bring the data, load the data, provision the data. Now, once we bring the data, basically, HANA is a columnar storage. In fact, it's a hybrid data storage, which can store the data in the row format as well as columnar format. But the performance of HANA is because of its columnar storage. Okay, but it can also store the data in the row format. So we'll discuss scenarios when to choose row storage, when to choose columnar storage. We'll discuss that. So once we bring the data from any of the source systems into HANA, data would be stored in columnar tables. Okay. Now we'll not directly do reporting on columnar tables. The next aspect would be modeling in SAP HANA. First, what is the first aspect of HANA? Data provisioning. Data provisioning is nothing but data loading. So using one of those four methods, you bring the data to HANA. Once data is loaded to HANA, data is available in columnar tables, but you will not directly do reporting on those tables. What you do is, using HANA Studio, which is a front-end tool for HANA, you would be building some information models. So information models, for example, attribute view, analytical view, calculation view, etc. Okay. So you will build some models using SAP HANA Studio. HANA Studio is the front-end tool through which we will be connecting to the HANA database. Okay, let me quickly show you the preview of HANA database. So now this is how the HANA database looks like. Okay, now using this front-end tool, once the data is loaded to HANA, what you do is you build some models. You build some information models, attribute views, analytical views. So these are efficient for reporting. So this is how, basically, you would be building some schemas which are efficient for reporting. Now, once modeling is done in HANA, then comes the reporting part. Reporting is taken care by Business Objects BI 4.0. Okay. So understand that any other reporting tool can connect to HANA, but only BO4 is certified report on HANA. Say, if you see the interfaces to HANA, you have the standard interfaces, your SQL drivers, JDBC connection, ODBC, MDX drivers. So any reporting tool can still connect to HANA, but as of now, SAP certified only business objects for reporting on HANA. So SAP is very keen that because of some third-party integration issues, they don't want to take the blame that HANA is slow. Okay. So This is a high-level architecture of HANA. So basically, you'll bring the data from any of the OLTP systems or source systems using one of the methods, Sybase or SLT, data services, or direct extractor connection. Store the data in the columnar storage, build information models using HANA Studio, and then comes the reporting part. Okay, so I'll quickly show you know how does the modeling will look like. So being a HANA developer, we have to build these information models. Once data is loaded, you have to build these information models like attribute views, analytical views, calculation views. Now, once these models are built in HANA, then comes the BO part. Okay. So in the maybe in the next session we'll go in detail into the HANA architecture, how exactly HANA is different from Data Mart, and what is BW on HANA, what is Scope Accelerator, what is Business Suite on HANA, CRM on HANA, BPC on HANA. We'll talk about them. Now quickly, let me explain the course details. Okay, so we are covering SAP HANA 1.0 Service Pack 5. This is currently the certification. Also, we'll see the differences between Service Pack 6, which is the latest version. Okay. Now, the course duration is for 35 hours. Okay. So, which is starting next week. So, we have sessions on Saturday and Sunday only. So, it's Saturday 3 hours and Sunday 3 hours. So, 6 hours per week. You get access to the complete certification material. Plus, this is the latest certification material. So, if you see the certification material, you will get HA100, HA200, 300, BW362. What are these? These are various courses offered by SAP. HA100 is Introduction to HANA. 300 is Advanced Modeling in HANA. 200 is Administration, SAP HANA Administration. BW362 is nothing but BW on HANA. Apart from it, we are also covering COPA Accelerator. So I'll show you the certification material. So COPA Accelerator. So all the certification material plus loads of documentation, like for example, ticket documentation. Okay. And then there are some customized materials, like for example, the document what I'm using for the training. So where each and everything is clearly mentioned with step-by-step navigation, where to click, what to click. Okay. So all this documentation would be shared. Almost like 2 GB of files would be there. There would be some recorded sessions from the SAP course. Each of our session is recorded. So each session is recorded so that you can refer it later for your reference. Now coming to the server access. So you would be given access to a remote machine where you have SAP HANA Service Pack 5 integrated with SAP Business Objects 4.0, Data Services 4.0, and then you have SAP SLT configured real-time ECC server where you have SLT. So here you will find the option to replicate the data in real time. So, and then you have SLT direct extractor connection, then BW on HANA, ECC. You have tools like SAP Lumira, which is a latest tool. Earlier this tool is called as Visual Intelligence. You have dashboard design, crystal report. So put it very simple, complete integrated landscape. Okay. So you would get this access for 2 months, which you can use 24/7. So session timings would be 9:30 a.m. EST to 12:30 a.m. EST. Okay. Now, what else we have to cover? Yeah. So you'll also get some certification questionnaire. So almost like 20 batches I have completed with Arni Consulting on HANA. So what we did is we collected a lot of certification material. So if you go to this folder, yeah. So a lot of people took certification, they cleared with good percentages, 90, 95. So we collected all of those certification questionnaires. So those certification questionnaire would be shared with you so that you understand how to prepare for your certification. Okay. So completely certification orientation. And so the course is completely, with practicals, not theoretical. Okay. I would say 20% theory, 80% on the server. Okay. So we'll talk about, HANA is fast. Okay. Just because HANA is fast, now if you do whatever you want in HANA, you will not get the actual performance. So there will be best practices on HANA as well. So we'll talk about them. What are the best practices you have to follow? What kind of real-time scenarios you can expect? What is the business case where you can use HANA? When to use BW on HANA? When to use OLTP on HANA? When to use native HANA? So we'll target basically HANA from the complete modeling and reporting perspective. Okay. So these are some of the details what I want to give you as part of this course. Now, if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay. Hi. Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Can you hear
Nicholas.
me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Nicholas. I'm Nicholas. Sir, here I have a question. I'm functional in SAP, but is this a presentation and is this certification for people who is functional, or there is a technical stuff to do? Is there any development to need to do the certification or the training or not?
Right, yeah. Right, yeah. Now, very nice question, I think, which I forgot to explain. So, prerequisites for this course would be some basics on data warehousing and reporting. Okay. So, no ABAP requirement, no ABAP required. Okay. So, it's a kind of more functional, but with some SQL skills would be advantage. Okay. So if you are purely new to data warehousing or reporting, I would suggest you should follow SAP BO, then SAP HANA, and then SAP BW. So this is somewhat good combination, BO plus HANA. And this is also not bad, going for BW on HANA. But the best what I would suggest is BW, BO, and HANA if you want to get into this analytics space. Okay. So little bit of SQL skills would be helpful to get more in details on HANA. But you also have the graphical version of what you have to work. So it's graphical, there it's more functional, less some SQL. Okay. So better you have some data warehousing or reporting background to be advantage.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Karthik, this is Abdul. I have BW background, and in terms of the BW on HANA, what is is SLT based on push or pull approach?
SLT is pull, so it's real time, right? So in contrast to the BW loading, SLT is pull mechanism. So it's a trigger based application. So as soon as a transaction happens in the source system, the database trigger would be automatically fired, which will push the data to HANA.
Okay. In terms of the prerequisites, right? Like, do I need to know the BODS and BO40 to be able to fully leverage this training?
No, not required. So we are completely discussing the BO integration with HANA. Okay. And we'll see how to make use of data services for HANA. So now there would be always separate roles for data services. So being a HANA developer, you will not be asked to do data services job. So it's not mandatory. It's an added advantage if you have data services knowledge. And BO, it would be helpful. Obviously, even before HANA, BO and BW integration. So that would be an added advantage if you have BO skills. Okay, but it's not mandatory. We are completely covering, the BO reporting, how to integrate with HANA. So I don't say that BO is a prerequisite.
Okay.
But now, because of the BW background, just that a separate reporting tool, it will not make much difference.
Okay, two more questions for you. One is the DXC, which is SAP supply business content data sources. Not all the extractors are enabled for ODP, right? So in those cases where the standard business content ECC extractors are not set up for ODP, what method do we use for bringing the ECC data into HANA?
Right. See, ODP is as a part of your data services, right?
True.
This is different. This is operational data processing. Okay. Now, this is a totally different mechanism. What you do is, now you are actually pulling the SAP ECC thinking that you are loading the data to BW PSA, but now data is diverted to HANA. So, from ECC perspective, you are still loading the data to BW. So, whatever aspect which works for BW, like let's say for example, LO extraction. Now, the same LO extraction will work with DXC and HANA. Now, how you are managing your info package, how you are managing your delta, your RSA7. So, every aspect would be same for DXC. So, indirectly, you are making ECC system think that it is loading the data to BW, but ideally data is diverted to HANA. So that way, there are not much configuration changes for DXC. So that's how all of your data sources are enabled for Delta, and you are making use of the standard business content data sources. These are not completely enabled for ODP. Now with DXC, I think ODP will not be of much importance for HANA.
Okay. And in terms of the, you mentioned for ETL, ABAP is not required. So what do we leverage for doing the transformations within HANA?
You are talking about BODS or SLP?
I'm talking within HANA. Let's say the data has been provisioned within HANA, and I do transformations. So what technology would I use to do the transformations within HANA?
Within HANA, it's completely SQL script.
Okay.
So it's more of an SQL, okay, but it's advanced extension to SQL. So that is called SQL script. So that SQL script modeling would be done. So that's where our SQL skills would be added advantage when we talk about HANA. But BW on HANA is the same concept. Okay, so everything would be same like what you do as a BW developer. BW on HANA is more or less the same.
Okay, last question for you, Karthik. So your implementations, have they been more like HANA as data mart or BW on HANA or different combinations?
So my experience on project and the POC experience would be one project I have completed for data mart, okay, where the client wants to move from BW to native HANA, okay. So this is one project which I'm currently handling, and then one project I have completed where it is moved from BW to BW on HANA, okay. So I have these two exposures, but I can cover COPA accelerator. That is more of a from the training perspective. No, I don't have any practical experience on COPA accelerator, but we can see how to implement it, what we have to consider, what are the advantages of COPA accelerator.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thanks, Abdul.
Okay, Karthik, one small question. What about BO? I am not a BO. I am in the site logistic, MM, WM, all retail. But BO, is it something takes time to know what it is? Because here you ask SAP BO integration with HANA. So you need us to know a little bit about BO?
So, see, for functional consultants, HANA would not be, playing much role. Okay. So,
Okay.
there are different aspects within HANA. So, there is, see, this one course like HA100 that will set you the platform for HANA. Okay. SAP HA100. This is like introduction to HANA.
Uh-huh.
So, anyone who is working with SAP, so you have to basically know whether you're functional, technical, or database. So HA100 is like it should be introduced to what is HANA, what we are doing in it. Okay. So for a functional standpoint, you'll not be dealing much with HANA. So if you think that you want to plan your career again in FI or MM, so you will not deal with HANA so much. Okay, because you will still deal with your standard transaction codes. There would be something modified in a new way you would be accessing. So HANA would be mainly for someone who wants to move to analytics, nothing but reporting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest if you can get your skills updated in BO and HANA, that would be better with your functional experience. So that way, it would be more useful, like you would be acting as a techno-functional, understanding where you have the data and what you want to report.
Hello, Karthik. I have a question.
Yeah, please go.
Hello.
Yeah, please go.
Karthik, you said in your current project you are moving from SAP BO to Data Mart. So
right.
In this case, also the extractor on ECC will not be changed, will remain same.
So in this case, you have both the choice. You can very well implement SLT, or you can implement data services or direct extractor connection. But currently, we are in our current project where we use SLT and DXT because the source systems are SAP only. So for real-time reporting, few scenarios we implemented with SLT. With some of the scenarios we are implementing DXT. There are very two reports which are bringing the data from non-SAP where data services is leveraged. Okay, so data services would be mainly helpful, where you want to bring data from non-SAP because that suits best for non-SAP extraction.
No, I'm not talking about non-SAP. I'm saying from ECC, if we have this already the extractors for BW, and if we
right.
move from BW to Data Mart, will we have to rewrite these extractors or the same will work?
No, the same extractors will work. Okay, so that's the advantage of DXT. Okay, so every extractor which works for BW will now work for DXT. So all those will be reused.
Karthik, you mean to say that from the data from the ECC, instead of loading into the BW, it's going directly to the HANA database?
That's right. So that is the concept of DXT. So you can still load the data to BW as well. So it's like two target systems for ECC.
Okay, but there are scenarios where really BW is required, or it's not required at all.
So it completely depends on what kind of reporting you are doing. Let's say, for example, it's completely operational reporting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is completely operational reporting, a client can go for SAP Business Suite on HANA. Okay. Now, if it is four systems are SAP and now you want both operational reporting and analytical reporting, BW on HANA is a wise choice. If the client is already having BW, okay. So clients who are already having BW, it would be a quick migration to move to BW on HANA. And BW on HANA is a combined product where you are making use of BW features as well as HANA features. Okay. So in a typical non-SAP data warehousing landscape, a native HANA will play more role. Okay. So it all depends on where, what kind of reporting scenario, what are your source systems. It will depend whether you want to use BW on HANA or SAP Business Suite on HANA or native HANA. But wherever you use HANA, modeling will not change. Okay. So that is the basic where you have to do reporting. How do you create information models for your reporting? So modeling will be always same. So that is basically part of your HA100 and HA300 courses. Okay, so these are two standard courses by SAP. These are the core codes. So that's where we are targeting HA100 and HA300 in detail in this course.
So this modeling means it's similar to the modeling what we have in BW, right?
Right. Yeah, it's similar. See, it's similar, but with a different tool.
Yeah.
Just like in BW we create info views or DSO multi-provider. Similarly, we create attribute views, analytical views, calculation views. So we have to understand which one will give you better performance in what scenario, why an additional modeling layer is required, all that.
Okay. Thanks, Karthik.
Yeah, thanks.
Karthik, the system you are going to be using for training, is it data mart native HANA or is it BW on HANA?
Yeah, we have both. Okay, as I mentioned, it's an integrated landscape where we have HANA DB, nothing but data mart. Then we have BO4, and then we have BODS 4. We have ECC with SLT, we have ECC with ESP, and also we have BW on HANA. Okay, and we have SAP Lumira, and then we have dashboard and system report for enterprise. I'm checking the availability of predictive analysis. I cannot assure you this, okay, but I'm checking the possibility of integrating predictive analysis with HANA, but these complete landscape is available. HANA Data Mart, Service Pack 5, BO4, Data Services 4, SLT with ECC, DHC, and also you have regular BW, okay, BW on Oracle.
Thank you.
Hi, Karthik, this is Rajesh here. Regarding the server access, you said that it's only for 2 months. So can that be extended?
Yeah. So if you just talk to Priya, so I think that can be extended, but that would be on additional price. So check with Priya, so she'll be giving you those details. Okay, you can extend as long as you want, 1 year, 2 years.
Okay. And Karthik, I have one more question regarding your experience on HANA. You said that you are moving BW to native HANA.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is HANA capable of doing complex calculations what BW does?
Right. Very nice question. See, there would be scenarios where BW is sufficient. There would be scenarios where HANA is good in terms of performance. So BW on HANA is the best product rather than going to native HANA. So that's exactly what the client is facing a challenge now. So also we implemented we moving BW to native HANA. So it's more of integrated reporting which we are doing. Okay. So I would say there are more features in BW than HANA because HANA is more of a database rather than a complete reporting, an OLAP system. So that's where BW on HANA will give you more flexibility than native HANA. Okay.
Okay. I can say that HANA is not mature enough now.
Not that. See, in BW on HANA, I will tell you. In BW on HANA, I will tell you, you can use BW modeling plus HANA modeling. Okay. So hybrid product, but still the scenarios where you just have native HANA. Let's say there are many non-SAP data warehousing landscapes, right? So all those non-SAP data warehousing landscapes can be replaced with HANA. So it's capable of that. So no, we can wait for the next version of HANA to get the complete features, but there would be some features which are not directly supported by HANA as of now. But HANA is growing at rapid pace. If you can see, almost like every month you are getting a new service pack. Not just a new service pack with just bugs being rectified, but also many new features are being added. Like for example, its integration with statistical languages like L and R, HTTP capabilities. So many things are adding up. Predictive analysis. So from reporting angle, might be it doesn't offer complete features like what BW offers, but from the performance point of view, it is more than BW. So that's where BW on HANA is giving more value than native HANA.
So Karthik, what is the roadmap for HANA? Will it replace BW at some point of time?
No, I don't think so. So that's where each of these will play a role. BW on HANA will have its own role, and native HANA will have its own role. Okay, so there would be SAP might be offering single products where most of the features of BW on HANA are I would say a tightly integrated product between BW and HANA. So that's what we can expect.
Okay. Thanks, Karthik. That's all I have.
Yeah, thanks. So it's not that HANA can replace BW or BW will be impacted with HANA. So it's more of what we can expect is more a tighter integration between both the products, which will add more value than either going for HANA or either going for BW. Okay. So that's where.
Karthik, one more question I had. You said that HANA is completely based, it's an in-memory database. And we know that in-memory is volatile. So what if the power goes off?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
We know that HANA is in-memory database. So in-memory database means means data stores in the memory.
Right.
And RAM is volatile. So what if power goes off?
Right. So basically, although we always say HANA is in memory, okay, so it will still have the disk, okay.
Okay.
So at every predefined interval, let's say for every 5 minutes, the complete data is taken back up to the disk, okay. And also, within this 5 minutes, the log, every committed transaction, the log is saved to the disk. So in case of power outage or system reboot or anything, so data would be available in the disk. Okay. So it's basically you still have disk in HANA, but disk is more used for backup. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Karthik.
Yeah. So we can get into those details when we go through backup and recovery. So there is something, a special mechanism which will take backup for every 5 minutes. So that is called save point. Okay. So now what happens in between save points, how the logs are rectified. Again, that would be purely a database and recovery mechanism. Okay.
Karthik, one more question.
Yes.
Yes. It is regarding we are saying it will use more memory, SAP HANA. So any rough idea estimate means with respect to how much memory, let's say the ratio of memory is more required in case of SAP HANA than the conventional, let's say BW.
Right.
Just ratio kind of thing, percentage or ratio, whatever.
Right. So obviously, HANA requires more memory. So minimum HANA would be, like 128 GB of RAM is required. Okay. So this is the minimum size what you find for HANA. And the best part about HANA is you get 10x compression with HANA. Meaning, let's say you want to load 100 GB of data to HANA database. You don't require 100 GB of RAM. So with HANA, what happens is you get 10x compression. So basically 10 GB of data is 10 GB of RAM is enough to store 100 GB plus some additional memory for the maintenance, for the normal operations of HANA. So it would be something like additional 5 GB or something like that. So it's not completely equivalent to the data what you have to store. Okay, you will get, because of HANA because of it's a columnar database, you get almost like 10x compression with HANA, but obviously it would be more hardware when compared to your regular BW. Okay. So that completely depends on the data volume what we are loading.
Sure. Thank you.
And also, there would be scenarios like, where if you talk about BW, so you have hot data, warm data, cold data. Like, you can put all your historical data, you call it as cold data. Current data, like, which is used for daily, day-to-day operations like current year, that is hot data. Now, this would be in the main memory. Now, this would be connected to an additional Sybase database. So which are integrated with your HANA. So that way you are managing the memory requirements with BW on HANA. So let's say you have 1 TB of 1 terabyte BW system. Not every data, not that entire 1 TB of data is your current data. So you'll also have historical data for historical reporting, right? But now the question is, how frequently are you accessing the historical reporting? So that way, the landscape should be framed in such a way that based on your hot data, your memory sizing would be done. Then what data you want to put it in additional disk storage and configure it with HANA. Okay. So any other questions?
Hey, Karthik, this is Gokul. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's Gokul.
When it comes to reporting part, so you said the BO is used as a reporting tool or a front-end tool, right? So how typical reporting on HANA is different from the conventional one? Hello?
Yeah, Gokul. Sorry, I didn't get your question. So you're asking like how HANA reporting is different from BW reporting, is that?
No. I'm asking how a BO reporting on HANA is different from a conventional BO reporting.
Not much difference. Only thing is you see better performance. Okay, you have to be slightly aware of how to make the best out of HANA. But most of the things, 80% it would be same, like what you are doing in BO.
Okay.
So still you would be building universe, how you create your web reports. Most of the aspects would be same.
Okay. So one more question. How about the administration part? I hope we haven't discussed anything over here. Is it completely a different set or?
Yeah. So we are not covering HANA administration as a part of this course. So that would be dealt by a different trainer. He is mainly from the BW basic background. So we are not covering administration in this. So we are basically focusing on modeling and reporting on HANA.
Okay, and this is a completely non-technical one. Coming to the training part, you said weekly twice, right, on the weekends?
Right.
By any chance, if you miss a session over the weekend, probably 6 hours will go in that. So do you have any back plans apart from the recorded session?
You can join the next batch. We will be alternatively starting batches in weekdays and weekends. Okay, so in case you miss some sessions in the weekend, or you have to travel or some other issue, you can join the next weekday batch. Okay, or you can join, or you will always have the recording that's there.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. So fine then. Thanks for attending the demo. If you still have questions, just post it to Priya, so or we can discuss in the next session. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you, Karthik, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you, Karthik.